Welcome back to The Vocalist. Today we are listening to the singer Dan Vasc perform Amazing Grace. I have not heard him before, but a number of people have sent me this clip, so we're gonna see what he's all about. Here we go.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
I'm gonna pause here. It looks like, based off of the length of this, we're gonna get all the verses in the song. So I want to go back to the beginning. I'm gonna break it. I have so many thoughts. I'm enjoying his voice, and I think what's got my mind racing is we're getting so many colors, and you can kind of hear that inkling of like the metal sound approaching, but not yet. So we're gonna break down just the beautiful sounds he's giving us at the beginning. Here we go.
Amazing.
Right there on May, when you can kind of hear him push that sound forward and really take advantage of forward placement.
Amazing grace, how sweet.
And then he went back. So then we got more of that open pharyngeal sound, which made it really warm and full and like hollow. And then we get that other sound that feels a little bit more biting and a little bit more present.
Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
So that last one, I think that, yeah, I'm just really enjoying this because of all the little nuances that we can pick out. Let me play that again for you. So we had, hold on.
That saved a wretch like me.
So there, he had on wretch, we had that more forward placement, and then he let off the air pressure, so we didn't have quite as much of that bright pinginess to the sound, but he was still incorporating nasal resonance, so we got yet another color than we did before.
A wretch like me, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed.
I'm not going to go back this time, but I do want to point out something that I don't know if I've mentioned before with any other metal singer I've heard. We know metal singers can do a lot with their voices, and oftentimes it's always surprising when we hear anything that resembles a slightly more classical sound, whether it's taller vowels or the way they utilize their air pressure. But if you think about it, when you have to do these incredible screams and growls and harsh vocals, that requires a lot of air pressure. So it just makes sense that metal singers would understand how to utilize that air pressure to create these more classical sounds, which I don't know, because in hearing him at the beginning of this, unless the title said, or it does say metal singer, I don't think I would have known that that was his maybe like primary genre of singing. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful sound. We're getting a lot of that open pharyngeal space. It's still nice and warm, but we get a little bit of grit, a little texture, and I have a feeling that's because of the rep that he usually sings. I'm gonna back it up just a tiny bit to get that transition, but we'll keep going.
First believe through many dangers, storms and snares, I have already come. Disgrace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
I don't know what he just grabbed out of his pocket, but I want to comment first on this sound. Of course, after I just mentioned the classical nature and the ability of metal singers within these different verses, we're getting almost completely different singers, which is it's so beautiful to hear. Let me go back. Right there. That was just, it's almost like he's incorporating more head resonance in his mix here. So we're getting that lighter sound, but it's not necessarily lighter in here. We'll keep going.
That brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me
I love that choice. I feel like we're building up to something, and so I've already got goosebumps. The song itself, but what he just did there, of course you hear bagpipes on this piece so often, so to bring in his own version of that using harmonica, I tell you, if you play harmonica, I think you're the coolest person in the world. I have owned so many harmonicas in my life because I just think it's so cool, and I can't play it. I never had, the structure and the diligence in my practice to really learn, but so cool. Okay, let me get this transition. I don't know what we're building to, but we're like only halfway there, so it's very exciting.
was blind, but now I
Ooh, okay. I wasn't expecting it to get to me. Tissue. Okay, we gotta go back because vocally, so many cool things happen. This song, it gets to me for so many reasons. The melody is just so stunning, and anytime I get a key change on this, I love it. I love a good key change. Here we go. I feel like I can go back and try and find when he starts to like amp it up. Here we go. This is end of harmonica. Okay. Okay, so right off the bat, this seems more like the sort of symphonic metal genre, because again, we're getting that classical sound, that beautiful cover. It's very like just such a nice, bright, pingy sort of tenor sound, or baritone, depending on, how you hear it or how you want to, talk about range. But we're getting those gorgeous tall vowels and lots of air pressure. I love that grit, that little, it's not crazy. Like, we're still getting lots of phonation and singing and just, but it's got this incredible rock texture to it, and I love it. Let me play that again. The other thing I noticed in this particular section, so again, this is all based off of personal preference. When I hear this song, I like really long phrases, and it's very easy to sort of cut them off with your breath, just because I don't know, the way they're arranged, the way the text is arranged, it's very easy to take more breath than you need. So at the beginning of this, if you go back and listen, you'll notice there were more breaths than he needed. And again, that was probably a choice. But here, when he's kind of in his bread and butter, you can hear how well he's extending that air, and he's not breathing as frequently because he's just so good at utilizing it in this style. Let me backen it a little just so we get that key change. That was another good example of that continued airflow. We're not getting breaths in places that we normally would. I love this section because not only do we get the key change, but it's a beautiful combination between it's such a balanced sound, because we get that ping, we get that brightness, we get that cut, but we also get the cover, we get the open pharyngeal space, we get that warm sort of taller sound, and it's so beautiful. Let me back it up a smidge.
Was blind.
getting to see his jaw move here. So I've talked about this before. Vibrato can happen naturally in the larynx when you have a balance between air pressure and muscle tension. But there are a bajillion other ways to make vibrato if you don't want it happening naturally. And one way is to use your jaw. And so seeing this, like seeing that tiny little movement is so cool.
Was blind, but now I see.
So cool. I love the choice at the end where he just, took it down a notch in dynamic and volume so that it was more intimate and a little bit more self-reflective, I guess you could say. I loved that. I have definitely never heard a version of Amazing Grace quite like this one. But what a so many great choices, so much variety. We had levels that I feel really fit the text from an emotional standpoint. We had a harmonica interlude. We had just so many cool things and different textures that you normally wouldn't hear on this piece. Anywho, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for this recommendation and for watching with me. If you have a favorite version of Amazing Grace, please feel free to comment or link it below, and hopefully I will see you next time.